going. Okay, well, welcome everybody to our Market Scholars Q&A session today. It is noon Eastern on the East Coast. Seeing a lot of familiar names in the chat window. So glad to see everybody again. It's been a while, but it's glad to get the band back together. It's a good thing that we have Twitter, right? That we can be able to talk to each other and communicate with each other. Brandon is here as well. Brandon is up there in the panelist section. You can see he's also going to be chatting with you in the chat window. Anytime he wants to hop on, he can just unmute himself and hop on here. But any questions you have, anything that comes through the chats that I might not get to, Brandon is going to be there checking it out in the chat. So there's Brandon. So everybody say hello to Brandon. Glad to see here. And again, for those of you chatting, so depending upon when you logged in your chats, it will maybe automatically sending your chats to host just to me. And if that's the case, only I can see it. You have to change where it says send to, change that to all participants in that menu. Then everybody can see your great alohas. All right. That being said, let's get going here. So we need a disclosure slide, and we don't have a disclosure slide. So just all in your minds, think about any disclosure slides you may have thought or remember from the past, and just go through those slides in your mind so that we can hit through all of that topic. Educational purposes only, not licensed finance. Everything still applies actually to us. Everything still applies to us. Yes, the recording link will be available to everybody. We'll send that out. So welcome. We are Market Scholars. That's the company that Brandon and I decided to create. A lot of you have seen us on Twitter, have already started to interact with us. There's our website. Some of you have even been on our website and have subscribed. You can subscribe to our website now. You can see at the top right corner of that screen there. And then there's our tagline: knowledge, application, and community. Those are a few of the keywords that we feel like that Brandon and I really separate ourselves out from other people. We have the knowledge, we have the background, we have the experience in trading from all over the gamut, using ETFs, trading options, looking at technical analysis charts, investing in dividend growth stocks, trend trading, whatever the case is, we've got that knowledge. Both of us worked with our former employer for 10 years or more. We've been teaching it. A lot of you have been coming to our classes for many years. We've got the knowledge, and I can say, at least for Brandon, that Brandon has a knack of being able to relate high-level knowledge to anybody's ability to learn. No matter how new you are to the markets, no matter how experienced you are to the markets. I think that that's a knack that Brandon has. I would like to think that I can develop that skill if I don't have it already. But that's unique to us, that we can teach high-level stuff and help anybody understand it. And we really want to focus on application. Teaching something and getting some knowledge, it's one thing. But being able to look, the best way to learn things is to watch somebody do it, to do it in real time. That's how I feel is always the best way to learn. Some of you may feel the same thing. And so that's what we want to focus on as well, is taking the knowledge that you're getting from us and being able to apply it and see us apply it. See us apply it in real time. We can teach what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it. You can ask us any questions in a format similar to this to see, so that you can learn what the rules are that we'll be teaching, why we have these rules, and how to put them to work, right? And as you struggle and as you wonder, why is this not working, or how should this work, we'll be there to help you coach you on that. That's the second, that's the application word that we really want to focus on too. So knowledge, application, and then finally on community. Community is our third keyword there, and that's really important to us. Building a community of like-minded investors that can come together and learn together. The best way to learn, if you talk to anybody in a learning environment, the best way to learn is in a cohort of like-minded people learning the same things. And so I know in the past we had a vibrant community, whether it was in the classes like this or on a website. We had a really strong, vibrant community. Well, guess what? We are rebuilding. We're going to build a community again with you all. So it's going to be on our website as well as social media, as well as in these classes. The community will be back, and we'll be able to do this again. All right, so that's important to us. We know it's important to you. We're going to bring it. So those three things, you put those three things together, we feel like that's the best model for success in learning how to invest and putting it to work, right? Putting that investing knowledge to work. All right, so you'll notice at the bottom of the screen there's an email address, support@marketscholars.com. Anytime you need us, so you have a question, that's the email to send that Brandon and I both can see. Support@marketscholars.com. You'll notice it's down there on all of our slides in case you didn't get it the first time. All right, so now what are we doing here and why are we doing it? So let's move on to the next slide. What's our plan? In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Instead of doing it this way, I'm going to bring up my slides. And I'm sorry, it's going to mess up your chat for just a second, but bear with me. I'm going to bring up my slides here. 1 second. Where did you guys go? There you are. And I'm going to share my screen. Aha. All right, so now I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to bring up my slides one more time. There we go. You should still see at the top of your screen your chat windows, the participants panel, everything that you need up there. So that I might have just changed some things up for you, but it allows me to use the animations I have in my slide. All right, so here we go. What's our plan? So what we're doing is we're going to soft launch our website starting on March 21st. We're going to, during that time, between now and our public launch on July 1st, we're going to be rolling out new things, new features. So it's going to be, we're going to be building in to our full website on July 1st, and we're going to start making things available to you on March 21st. That kind of gives you an idea of what we're doing. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing a soft launch? Some of you may be wondering, what's taking so long? Dang it. Let's get started and get going right now. I'll tell you why. So, as you know, Brandon and I used to work together, and we worked for our former employer. We left our former employer. Other coaches have left. Other employees left too. Have started up similar things to what we're trying to do. Got started a little bit earlier than what we did. There was a difference when me and Brandon left, where we are a little bit more legally tied to our former employer. Some of you may have realized that on Twitter. Back a few months ago, we got our wrist slapped a little bit from our former employer. So because of that legal tie we have had to slow down a little bit. And that's why we are starting with a soft launch now, because we hear from a lot of you that you want your dividend growth investing class right now, and we want to give it to you. Okay. We'll give it to you. We would love to give you that and anything else that we have, but we have to do it in a manner that allows us to steer clear of any legal ties we have to a former employer. So as such, we devised this plan. where we will offer the opportunity for you to subscribe now, starting on subscribe now. Starting on March 21st, start rolling out some of our class and coursework, and then build into a more public launch on July 1st. Right? So, what do you get out of participating in the soft launch starting now up through July 1st? Well, first of all, you get your dividend growth investing class. You get your sector trend trading class. You get options trading from me, if that's what you wanted. You get daily reviews of the trades we're putting on in the market outlook videos, as well as other things I'll show you on the slide. So you get access to that now. That's one of the benefits of participating in the soft launch. The other benefit that we wanted to give you is you get a discount. We're going to give you, because you are some of our most loyal clients that we have. You've been with us for years at our former employer. You helped us out when we were starting with that market research survey. We want to reward you, and so we're going to give you a discount that's not going to be available to anybody else, right? To anybody else. So that's the other benefit to participating in the soft launch. And then finally, you get early access. So because we're in beta format starting March 21st through July 1st, we won't start your clock until July 1st. So once you subscribe today, tomorrow, from now, once you subscribe, starting immediately, your clock, your three-year subscription won't start until we've publicly launched. So you get immediate access, you get early access with your subscription that nobody else gets. So you kind of get a few extra months on top of your subscription, and you get an exclusive discount that nobody else will get too. So that is your benefit for subscribing, for subscribing now and participating in the soft launch. All right. What do you get? Now let's talk about what you're going to get out of it. So as we get ramped up, we're going to have up to 10 online classes every week. So 10 online trading rooms, coaching sessions every week. Now let me show you how it kind of breaks down here. So Brandon will be teaching classes, very popular classes that a lot of you are familiar with. He'll be rebooting that class. Now the benefit you get again is for those of you who are already experienced with him in those classes, he's just going to like pick it up where he left off on some of these things. So some of the portfolios he was managing, he actually still is currently managing. He can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but if I remember correctly, he is currently still managing those portfolios. So he's kind of picking up where he left off in those classes. So now on my end, it's been a while. There he is in the chat window there. It's been a while since I started teaching, so that's not necessarily the case for me. But we'll talk about that more in a minute here. The Strategy Lab, if you remember, that was probably the most popular feature in our old community. He's going to bring that back with the class as well. And then finally, there's some people that say, you know what, options trading is not for me. I don't want options trading. Well, he'll be teaching a class that will focus on strategies that long-term investors can use in their portfolios to enhance what they're doing without having to be so active. So he'll be teaching an options class there, kind of for beginners too, because that's kind of the best way to get started with that. Now, on my end, I'll be focusing on portfolio management. Portfolio management is looking at a broad level. If you were to look at your portfolio today and get started with all cash, what would you put it in today? That's what that class is going to focus on. How to manage that passive portion of your portfolio using ETFs. Kind of that long-term view. Then, as you want to trade individual stocks and switch some of those ETFs out for individual trades, that's where dividend growth investing, trend trading, and things like that will come in. Strategy Lab, and Brandon said he'll explain more on that later. And then as you want to get more active with a smaller portion of your portfolio, and yes, Nick, it will definitely involve allocation and rebalancing, two key components of portfolio management, longer-term portfolio management. At the bottom end, the active trading classes will be looking at directional option strategy trades, as well as advanced option strategy, where you can manage a portfolio of option trades together, and then finally using technical analysis. Now, keep in mind, in addition to these classes, there will be 2 weekly Q&A sessions. Now, let me go back to here. These classes will be during the day. There will also be a couple of them in the evenings. They will all be recorded. You'll see that here in a second. So there will be a schedule that will post as we build into our schedule. Remember, it's a soft launch March 21st. We'll be building into our schedule there, and you'll have access to it as soon as we start these classes. So we'll post that schedule on there. There will be a set schedule, and everything will be recorded. Now, there's going to be 2 additional classes that will be kind of online coaching type classes, 2 weekly Q&As. One of those will be on Saturday mornings. That was something that I really enjoyed back in the day. It was actually when I was coaching, one of the most popular classes that we had was a Saturday morning study session, essentially, where we all got together and we could talk about anything and everything. So I will reboot that up, and we'll have that on Saturday mornings again. And Brandon will do one as well for the topics that he teaches in his classes, Q&A sessions once a week as well for him. All right. And here's the big one a lot of you have asked about on Twitter. So part of what you'll get as for subscribing is a class every day at the end of the day, at the end of the market day, where we'll review trades that we're putting on day after day in the market outlook. So if you just watch it on YouTube, you get the trades day after day after day, but you have to subscribe to get this class to be able to review the trades and manage the trades going forward. Okay, so that's going to be something else you get. The topics for these classes can change. We can add topics as there's demand for different things. We've had some people ask about futures and Forex. We've had some people ask about fundamental analysis. We might have a class in here or two that's not very popular. So we reserve the right to add or change topics based on what you want. And it will always be based on what you want. It will not be based on what we want. All right, that's going to be a key part for us. They will be archived and posted. Another benefit to WebEx is they can be posted very, very quickly. So we'll get those up and out very quickly. And then finally, all classes will have their own pages on the website where we can post all the accompanying material associated with that class. So keep that in mind. Every class will have its own page and its own community, right? There will be a community. We'll have a community on the website. And again, like we used to have back in the day, there will be community groups associated with each class. So if you want to, if we teach a class once a week and you want to get together in between and talk about trades that were put on, questions you may have with how you're applying what you're learning, then you can do that in that particular community group, right? So again, Brandon and I, it's very important. The community is very important to us, and we're going to make sure we have a vibrant community again that comes with all the benefits that a community brings. All right. We will be using Thinkorswim in the classes. So Thinkorswim, the platform, the trading platform, we will be using. We'll be using that for the active trading classes that I teach. Brandon will be using different resources and tools in his classes. A lot of it he was pretty much already using. So we're going to be using a familiar platform that a lot of you may have. Toss charts. We'll be using toss charts mostly, Dennis, for the technical analysis session. Unfortunately, the profit charts will go away at some point in time. They haven't turned it off for me yet because I use it so much. But that doesn't limit us. Yeah, and good question, Ken. We'll get to that here in just a second. All the features of the platform will be available on the Thinkorswim that we'll use in our classes as well. So I don't want to use profit charts too much because I know that they'll switch. Eventually, yeah, eventually Dennisall will be switching to Thinkorswim charts on everything I do. So, but that doesn't mean that in the future, if somebody else creates a better charting platform, better charting tool that we can use on our website, we will not limit ourselves to just using Thinkorswim. We'll use it right off the bat because that's what everybody's familiar with. A lot of you are familiar with. But the benefit we have is we have the flexibility of looking around and seeing, is there anything else we can use that we can incorporate in the site that you can use that has more features that can be better. So nothing right now jumps off the screen at us, so we'll use Thinkorswim, but we reserve that right in the future as well. All right. What else will you receive at our most elite level of service, our market scholars? So when you join, when you subscribe at this level of service, you are a market scholar too. So when you see market scholar, you see the logo down at the screen. When you see that market scholars down there and you subscribe, and those of you who already have subscribed, you are a market scholar as well. We are all market scholars. We are all one big community of market scholars. And to get to that level of service, there will be other levels of service when we publicly launch. They're not going to be part of the beta. There will be other lighter levels of service that we'll charge a lot less for, in terms of not charge a lot less for. This level of service will have a lot less. So what you see here, for example, up to 10 online classes, the other levels of service might only have like 1 or 2 classes. So, and they won't have access to the community. They won't have access to the weekly Q&A sessions. They won't have access to some of the materials for each class. They won't have access to the private communities. So there will be other levels of service in addition, but this elite, our highest level of service is what we're offering right now at the discount during this beta period. Okay, and like I said, you are a market scholar too, just like us. In addition to what you'll get with all those classes, you will also get, at this level of service, investing plans. Hey, how about that? Investing plans with rules, with actionable rules that you can use to help you apply what you're learning. Because again, that's the best way to learn, is the best way to trade is having a plan. Also, watch lists. What are the stocks that we're looking at throughout the day? One of the things that I've noticed too, when you're in a class, and again, this goes back to when I was teaching as well, was a lot of times it'd be like, well, how did you come up with those ideas? How did you come up with that? Why did you bring up that stock, and why are you looking at that stock? So that's going to be part of what we offer as well, is the watch list that we're looking at for the trades that we're going to be making in our class. You will have access to that as well and know how we got to them and why we got them. Because again, a key part of an investing plan is what to buy, what to trade, what stocks to look at, and that's going to be a key part of our education offering as well. Okay, ThinkScripts. Somebody asked about ThinkScripts earlier. There's going to be individual, personalized ThinkScripts that we make here that we'll offer to you too. So again, only at this level of service, this highest level of service, you will get unique ThinkScripts that are unique to those classes. So another benefit to being a market scholar. And then finally, trade alerts, right? Trade alerts, trades that we make in the class. So when we teach a class, we do it once a week. When we make trades in those classes, once a week. But in between those weeks, we will be managing trades. And so how are you going to know when we manage a trade? Maybe we get stopped out, maybe we get out of a trade for whatever reason. How are you going to know? Maybe we want to enter a trade that we'll eventually talk about in the next class, but we don't want to wait to the next class to make the trade. right? So as we manage the portfolios in our classes throughout the week, you will get alerted to what we do and why we do that through the website. Number one, the alerts can come through the website. You will also eventually have the capability to do the alerts on SMS as well, so they can come through as text to your phones. So we feel again that's a key learning point, because again, what we do in between a once-a-week class is just as important or more than what we do in that 1 hour once-a-week class, if you know what I mean. All right. Then we're going to have other tools. We're going to have other tools available on the website that charting tools, trading tools, fundamental screens, other types of screens. We're going to, as we find really good, useful tools that we like to use, we want to share them with you. And so we will plug those into our websites as well, okay? Including tools like journaling, as we find a good journaling tool that we can plug into our website. There's a few questions there about journaling. All right. So you get a discount. What is that discount? A lot of you said, hey, I love that discount. What is the discount? And some of you may already know, and it's in the email. The price for this level of service, that includes everything we just talked about, will be $29.99 for 3 years, starting July 1st. So we want to give you, for being a part of our beta group, for helping us out, for helping us test the site, for helping fill out the survey, for being with us from the start, Your Highness, we will give you a discount, a $1,000 discount. So you can pay now only $19.99. Again, for 3 years, then that 3-year period will start July 1st. So essentially what we're giving you for being a part of our beta group and being our most loyal and best clients we have, we're going to give you $1,000 off. So again, 3 years, starting July 1st is when your clock will start, even though your access will start March 21st to the classes that we have. So, so that's what kind of, you can see, you're basically getting a whole year off, which essentially will be, if you think about it, our first year. So our first year, when we're building up the site and we're adding things and we're trying new things and we're changing things out, a year from July 1st, we're going to be going. So for that first year, you basically get it for free, right? And you pay for those second 2 years. All right, now we also got this question: a la carte or buffet, right? Can I just pick out some of those classes? I don't want all those classes. Can I just pick out some of those classes? And the way we like to think about it is we're not offering anything. That subscription to our website is not going to be an a la carte. You know, well, can I get this for this amount and that for that amount and this for this amount? It will be, it's a buffet. You essentially, it's like you just went into the Caesar's Palace in Vegas, and now you get access to all that great seafood. All right, that is what your subscription will get you to. Okay, we do not take Bitcoin. Unfortunately, we don't have that capability. We're starting, Scott, maybe eventually in the future, but we don't take Bitcoin right now. And then let's see, there was another question about, is it rate locked in the future? The $3,000 is locked for the next 3 years, Arthur. Eventually after that, we'll see, most likely it will be the same when you go to renew in that 3-year period. Okay? All right. And unfortunately, we don't have the ability for installments either. We don't have the ability for the installment plans. Again, we're a startup, we're getting going, and the services that we have don't offer us that capability quite yet. All right, so a few things to keep in mind about our little venture that we have here. So our former employer was a full company staffed with instructors, content developers, support staff, sales staff, marketing department, financial department. It was a fully staffed company. So, so just keep in mind that this is just the two of us. And at some point in time, we have to take some time off. So, how is it going to work when we take time? And again, remember, keep in mind, a lot of this is in our terms of service as well on our website. But when we take time off, we will not be subbing for each other's classes. So keep that in mind. So if Brandon's off for whatever reason, I won't be subbing for his trend trading class. We'll just have that week off. And we'll definitely give everybody plenty of notice, and the community will still be there. But we won't be subbing for each other's classes. And we have built into our agreement with each other, we have the ability to take up to, first of all, we'll have the week off between Christmas and New Year's. Unless things get a little bit crazy, we might schedule a session, a Q&A session here or there. But usually between Christmas and New Year's, that week is really, really quiet. So we're going to both take that week off. And a lot of you probably should take that week off too and spend time with family and enjoy the end of the year and all that jazz. So we're both going to have that week off. In addition to that, we have up to 4 weeks that we can take off throughout the calendar year. Up to 4 weeks that we can take off. So that can be any time throughout the year. And like I said, when we do take that time, we won't be subbing for each other's classes. As well as on weekends where there's a holiday, on a Monday or a Friday, very similar policy there. We won't have the Saturday morning session. Okay, we won't have that Saturday morning session. All right. Now, in terms of customer support. We could both be involved in customer support all day long if it came down to that. So keep in mind that we are a two-person outfit. As you have questions, our email address is down there at the bottom, support@marketscholars.com. Send us. We might not be able to get to everything immediately. We might not be able to get to everything. For example, if you have technology issues with the Thinkorswim platform, or if you have technology issues with any other resource that we might be using, a third-party resource, we'll have to use their support team. You'll have to use their support team because the idea being that if, for example, we create a ThinkScript that works for us on our platform, but maybe you're using a Mac right now and that ThinkScript for whatever reason doesn't work for you, then we won't be able to support that, unfortunately, because we just won't have the time to get to everybody. But you can use Thinkorswim support to be able to say, okay, hey, I got this custom script I want to use. It's not working for me. Can you help me out? And that's what they're for. So that's an example. And again, that kind of might help you give you an idea. We'd love to help you out. We would love to help you out. And our email address is down there at the bottom. We just can't get to everything all the time, and especially immediately, especially if we're teaching a class, right? And we'll both be on PCs, Dennis. We'll both be on PCs there. All right, so some of you asked too about additional products that we'll offer in the future. Now, at some point, eventually, as time permits, we will offer additional products in addition, but that are not part of this level of service. So, for example, one-to-one coaching. We would love to be able to offer a one-to-one coaching product to people, but it won't, because it's hard to do one-to-one coaching with hundreds of people, hopefully, that we get, then we can't, we have to charge separately for that because of the time for the one-to-one session. So that will not be a part of the subscription to the Market Scholar level service, but only Market Scholars subscribers will have access to the one-to-one coaching calendar. So yes, it will be a separate cost for that particular product if and when we do launch that, separate cost to your multi-year subscription, but you will only be able to take advantage of that product if you have that subscription, if that makes sense. Okay? So, and the same thing with live events. We would love to do a live event, a boot camp where we can get together with a small group of you and at a hotel and look at your computers and look over your shoulders and help you out and answer questions and do it in Vegas and then go watch the Blue Man Group later that evening. And that would be awesome. We'd love to do that. We don't have the time now because we're building out a website and we're getting a business started. But at some point in time, we will have the Market Scholars Conference. investor conference, exactly, in Vegas, potentially. It just happens to be close to where we are. So, and if that's the case, that will also be a separate cost in addition to the multi-year subscription when we do offer that product. But again, same thing, only market scholars will be able to take advantage of that, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, we could definitely, imagine doing a cruise, that would be amazing. We'll go up to Alaska, we'll everybody get on a cruise, go up to Alaska, and during the day while we're messing around, we'll just talk stocks and make trades, as long as they have good internet there. And then in the evenings, we can eat well and have fun on the cruise. So stuff like that is available. It will be separate from the subscription, but only available to subscribers, if that makes sense. All right. Let's see. All right, so now, what questions do we have here? So I'm going to bring Brandon on. Brandon, if you want to unmute, and if you have any popular questions here that have been coming through the chats, we can be able to hit those now.
All right. Well, thanks, David. You did a great job of explaining everything there, and we really appreciate your guys' first of all, patience as we got ramped up here throughout this process, and also your engagement with us on Twitter and on YouTube, and having hundreds of you here on this session today is mind-blowing to me. Many of you have already paid for our subscriptions in the last couple of days, which all by itself is very humbling to me. We know that you guys have faith in David and I, and we can't thank you enough for that. We don't want to let you down. Obviously, in the beginning, things will be going a little bit slower than some of you may want, but we do hope to be in full swing by July, so we appreciate your patience there along the way. David, I tried to answer most of the chats there. We did have a couple around, will the education be focused on advanced, new, or intermediate traders? So maybe if you want to address that along with what you envision regarding kind of course material.
Okay, yeah, so for sure. So the benefit of our class, or the benefit of Brandon and I doing this together, is that we really work well together in terms of, our approaches, our expertises, they can work hand in hand. So if you think about it, we offer a holistic approach to managing your portfolio, starting at the top, starting on day one with building a portfolio with ETFs and knowing how to manage that at the very least, learning how to do that. Right, to then saying, okay, as I want to do kind of some longer term individual trades, we'll have classes for people who don't want to be active, who just want to be passive, who want to buy and hold, but just want to know what to buy as a replacement for, an ETF, for an example. And then we'll have classes for that. And then as you want to get more active through trend trading, through swing trading, through even more active trades there, we have classes for you too. So our curriculum and our classwork will be very holistic, from the most passive to the most active. We have everything covered. In fact, and one thing I forgot to do, Brandon, and you might want to do this too, put those links out in the chat window. We're going to teach 2 classes this week. In fact, we're going to teach a class today. Brandon's going to teach a strategy lab class today. We're just starting. It's just a test. We want to make sure the WebEx works and all of our functionality works. But Brandon will teach a class today on the strategy lab. Well, you just put a big old long thing there in the chat window. There's the strategy lab, the information for that. And then there will also be a class tomorrow that I'll be teaching on technical analysis. So he'll put some information on that as well in the chat window. We will record these classes, and you'll have the ability to be able to watch them. But these 2 classes this week will be more of like a test. We just want to make sure everything's working before we get to that March 21st date. So if that makes sense. We'd love to have everybody there. So make sure you grab those links there, and you'll be able to watch it with us. There was a few questions that kind of came through. The advanced options class, so the question about the options, we'll have 2 different option strategies class. One will be looking for individual directional trades, and then the other will be managing an inventory of options on ETFs and other broad stocks together. So we'll have two different types of active option strategies classes. There's a question on that. Let's see what else we have here. So there will not be an a la carte. So there's a question: can we get a reduced price if we only want some of the classes? The subscription gives you access to anything and everything, buffet style. So you just kind of pick and choose what you want there. These two classes this week will be open. Will be open to everybody. You'll be able. Again, it's a test for us as we approach that March 21st. So we want to kind of give you an idea of what the classes will be like. The content will be building too, so keep that in mind. But yes, these two classes this week will be open to everybody. All right, and yes, we will be creating tools that we can plug into the site. There's a question about is there going to be some unique tools? Brandon's been working on a great tool himself over the last little bit. And as we build out, the nice thing is when you subscribe, the website's not going to be the same July 1st this year as it will be next July 1st and the next July 1st. We're going to be constantly building and improving. I know a lot of you have been in the habit of, things being taken off the site, tools and things being taken away from you. The benefit to subscribing to us is we will constantly be looking and adding new things, new features, new tools that will be better and better and better, and you don't have to pay any more for them over the next 3 years. You'll have access to all those new things that roll out as you subscribe now. All right, is there anything else, Brandon, that stood out?
We had a lot of questions about will the application be during market hours, so maybe you can just address that again.
Yeah, some of the classes will be during the day, during market hours. The trade review session will be also at the end of the market day, so it will also be during the day. Some of the classes will be at night that aren't so focused on making trades during the, on an intraday basis. Most of our classes will be real time. I mean, all of them will be real time, but most of them will be during the market open. And they will all be recorded to be watched anytime.
Yeah, and I am getting, some various people asking questions about, will there be a portfolio of underlines that we are following, and, will performance be tracked and things like that. From my perspective, that is going to be on a case-by-case basis depending on which class that we're in at the time. But obviously, we want to provide value to you guys, so we're going to make our best effort to kind of cater the style towards whatever you guys want out of us. Many of you that used to attend my classes with my previous employer know that, I engaged you guys a lot of times. I was kind of quarterback. We brought the team together. We all made decisions together as a group, and I really kind of value your guys' input and thoughts around the portfolio creation process just as much as my own. And so that's kind of the style there. For those of you that have attended my classes in the past with my previous employer, you would expect that my future classes will be a very similar style. And then maybe, David, since you haven't been teaching formal classes for quite some time, you can kind of give some input on what your thoughts are around that question.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, again, the best way to learn is to measure and evaluate, and we have to be able to measure and evaluate how we're doing. I will say, in my experience, I have noticed teachers of trading type classes will focus a lot of their attention on trades that work. And here's the problem with that. Because in reality, not all your trades will work. And in reality, most of your trades won't work the way you expect that they will. And so the problem is if you attend a trading room where every trade works, because for whatever reason, every trade seems to work, and then you start trying to apply it and it's not doing the same for you, it's a horrible learning experience. So when we go through our classes, you will see all of the trades. You will see all of the trades. We'll manage all the trades, all the ones that win and all the ones that lose, so that you can learn how to manage all your trades, all the trades that win and all the trades that lose. So yes, keeping track and measuring and evaluating is a very, very important step of the learning process, in my opinion. Okay, anything else there that stood out?
We did have one question that was asking specifics around ETFs. I know you kind of addressed it, but the question was in alignment of, is the ETF class that you're going to be teaching similar to the ETF class that used to be taught at our previous employer, which my understanding is no, there will be some differences. So if you could maybe explain that.
Yeah, there will be some differences. So there will be a way that we can teach it the class that I'll be focusing on will have both a passive and an active bent to it. The passive will be how to build a portfolio, how to allocate and rebalance, broad, basic portfolio management concepts for people that don't have any experience or want to start day one and want to know where should I put my money today. That's going to be the one part of the class. And then there will be an active rotation element that may be similar. I'm not exactly sure what the exact plan was that was taught in that class previously. But we will have an active element to rotate and move and tilt money from one asset class to another based on what's going on in the market from a macro level. And I will be teaching all those intermarket relationships, what to pay attention to, what's happening right now in real time, how do we take advantage of it. That's what we'll be teaching in the portfolio management with ETFs class.
Yeah, I think David's approach will be a little bit more thoughtful. Not to say that it's better or worse than what you may have experienced in the past, but he's going to be using his knowledge around intermarket relationships to manage his portfolio as opposed to just simply pushing in based off of relative strength. Now, again, we're going to have plenty of other areas within our education that will focus on relative strength. Many of the portfolios, of the 50 portfolios that I'm tracking in Strategy Lab, are strictly relative strength-based type of portfolios. But David's approach is going to be, you're going to be harnessing a lot of his knowledge and insight that he's gained along the way to kind of position your portfolio a little bit more thoughtfully than just, hey, what's outperforming what right now?
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to put it. I have seen, while you were talking, I have seen some questions coming through on the community, some questions about the community and how that's going to work. So there will be a community on the Market Scholars website. You'll be able to create a profile. You'll be able to have friends. You'll be able to live chat with people. How about that? That was a common feature that has been asked for in an old community that we all a lot of us used to attend, that we never did get. But the community that we will have on our site will have that capability, all the capabilities, private messages, to be able to interact with each other, create groups. Yep, we'll have groups. We will have private groups that are just created for market scholars, and we'll have other groups that are available for anybody that subscribes. That's something else I didn't bring up. There's also a level of service where you can subscribe to our website for free, and you get access to some content for free. It will be like parts of the blog and other kind of high-level content that pretty much you can get anywhere for free. That's what's going to be available on our site for just subscribing to the site. And there will be some elements of the community that will be there too, but there will be groups that will be tied, and parts of the blog that will be people who only have access to that will be market scholars, people that are in that community, that level of service. So it's not going to be Facebook. Even though there will still be a group on Facebook, but that group will be mainly for people to kind of get excited about Market Scholars and want to subscribe. I'll also still be on Twitter, so Twitter will still be a key part of what Brandon and I both do. And again, we'll be able to interact with a lot of people there, not just Market Scholars. But when we want to interact just with Market Scholars, it will be through the community on our website, right? So we'll have our presence there as well, and we'll be able to interact. And again, a key part of that interaction within the community on our website will be what we do in between classes from week to week, and what you're doing in between classes, and what questions you might have for each other and be able to share with each other what you're learning and what you're struggling with and what tools maybe you have developed and you want to share and all that kind of stuff. All right.
Hey, David, we had a question coming in from Joss asking, is there any plans on eventually ramping up online coaching? I find that very useful, but there's only 2 total sessions per week. I think it might get a little spread out and congested. So I guess the way that I would answer that is, when David and I sat down to put on paper what types of classes we wanted to teach, it's in our best interest to try to structure that in a way that is the most interesting and valuable to our students. So if we were to expand with other classes, just being honest and upfront about the time commitment that's going to be required of a 2-man operation, likely if we added another online coaching class in the future, we're not opposed to that, but we would then have to likely take away something else. So, we'll have to judge the temperature of the students once we're up and running to try to see where we're at with that. I'm not opposed to that. You guys that used to attend my dividend investing online coaching know that I would go for hours and hours doing it because I love answering questions. I think they're very insightful classes. And, for what it's worth, I'm planning on doing that again when I teach my online coaching class this time around. The way that we're going to be structuring it is that, when I'm doing my online coaching, it's basically answering questions, looking at trade setups and different things from you guys where you want my insight based off of the 4 other classes that I teach. And then the same thing will happen there with David. So, for me, if we need to go past an hour, even if we need to go past 2 hours, I might very well be up for that as long as I got the energy to do so. So, we don't want to leave you hanging dry. If we get a sense that we need to adjust our schedule in the future, we won't be afraid to do that, but just keep in mind that every little movement that we make with one class could affect another class. We've got to be careful with that as well. David, do you have any follow-up on that?
That's perfect. That's a perfect way. I feel the same way. Some of our classes might go a little bit longer, and again, the topics of our classes will be flexible to what you all want, and if you all want more of those Q&As over some of those trading rooms, then that might be the case. That might be what we do. But we're going to start off with the 2, and then kind of see how things go from there. There is a couple of questions. There was one question about the subscriptions, and I want to talk about that here really quickly. There will be, like I said, there will be multiple levels of service. The only level of service that we're offering during the beta period with the discount is the Market Scholar level of service. We will offer a monthly level of service too that will be a lot lighter in terms of what you get for it. It will probably be about $100 a month that we will offer the ability to pay annually for the $1,000. And again, we're talking like instead of 10 classes, you may only get 1 or 2, and you'll get some of these other some other pieces of content, courses and things like that. But to get the full level of everything we offer, it's going to be you'll get that for at the Market Scholar level of service. Now think about if we're going to be charging the lighter level of service, $100 a month or $1,000 a year, but you can pay $1,000 over 3 years, so $3,000, $1,000 per year over 3 years to get the much higher level of service with every class we offer and everything that we do on the site. Then there's going to be a benefit to being a Market Scholar versus that lighter level service. Plus, now you're getting it for $2,000. And again, remember your clock doesn't start until July 1st. So now think about you're getting, for the next 3 years starting July 1st, you'll be paying about $55 a month for access to our website for everything that we will offer on July 1st, plus anything new that we'll add over the next 3-year period. So yeah, there's some alternatives to what's being offered in the on the website in the chat window there. We're hoping that you see that there's a lot of value in what we're offering and how much we are asking for it. There's also some questions about some other coaches, and is there any other coaches that we might bring on? At some point in time, we would love to bring on other coaches eventually, but for right now, no, it's just me and Brandon. And if they come on, they might come on for a class here or a class there, and that's something that may come down the pike in the future, but No, nothing even close. Like nobody, like someone said, there's people that are still with our former employer, that are other coaches that have left our former employer that are doing other things right now that aren't financial related at all. So right now it's me and Brandon. Brandon and I, we left together. We're building this. We're building this company for the long term. We are in this for the long term, me and him. And so if we add people eventually, that will be great. But for right now, it's me and Brandon. And like I mentioned, we're in it for the long haul. There was one question too that I saw about, are you going to be gone in a year? If I pay for a 3-year subscription, are you going to be gone in a year? No, we're not. We have built a business. That's why it's taken us so long. We built a business. We put an agreement together with each other that will be around for the long term. We are obligated to each other for that. And so, some other people, build their websites and they might be looking at other jobs at the same time. We're not looking for other jobs or other positions with any other company. This is it. We are Market Scholars. We want to build a community of Market Scholars and do it for the long term. Any thoughts you had on that, Brandon?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to, do you guys believe in us, right? And I've always been a very upfront person, sometimes too much so. I get that. But, hopefully you guys get the sense that I'm a very genuine person, a very honest person. And sometimes you guys don't like the answers I'll give you, but I do want to be upfront with you. And, you have my word that this is my life, right? I love being a coach. I absolutely love it. So this is not just a fly-by-night operation.
Yeah.
Now, if it were forced to, anything can happen in the future. Obviously, if we're just a spectacular failure, we'll have to adjust otherwise. But if this is successful, we have no plans to leave. A big part of why we're doing this is to structure a business around what we love to do. With our previous employer, there were some things going on that we no longer loved. Yeah. And so we really love doing this. This is not just some sort of fly-by-night hobby situation. This is our livelihood. This is everything, and we're going to give you every ounce of effort that we have available to us.
Yeah, it's our passion. We have a passion for investing. We have a passion for trading. We have a passion for teaching. It's our passion, and so that's what we want. And we have a passion for community. We love interacting with you. And like Brandon said, our former employer went down roads that we didn't have the passion for anymore. So we thought, hey, let's go do it ourselves. Let's go build a company and do the things that we love to do with the people we love to do it with ourselves. So yes, there's some questions about, what happened. Do you have succession plans in place? And yeah, we've gone through, and again, one of the reasons why it's taken so long is we've gone through the legal background and everything we need to make sure that everything is set up for the long term. So we're not going to be gone in a year. We're not going to be gone in 2 years. If it's as successful as, man, it's sure seeming like here at the start with a lot of your great support, we're going to be around doing what we love to do for a long time. There was one question too, can we transfer, if I want to transfer my subscription, if I stop doing it and I want to transfer to somebody else? One-off issues like that, we can definitely talk about. So just send us an email, let us know the situation. We can definitely talk about anything that we can do with your account in terms of transferring it to another person or anything. Any questions you have about that, just send us an email individually there at support@marketscholars.com. We'd love to talk about things like that on a case-by-case basis. And as you leave the session today, the WebEx will take you to the website where you can sign up and subscribe today. And remember, the soft launch starts March 21st. We will have a couple classes between now and then as we kind of test the waters and make sure the technology works and all of that. But the soft launch starts March 21st. And then the public, we'll build into our site by July 1st. So we're really, really excited to get started. As you have more questions, send them to us down below at support@marketscholars.com. There we go. We're excited to get going with this. We have a lot of great relationships with a lot of you that we're excited to get going again. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time here today, for spending your time with us during the middle of the afternoon. For those watching the recording, thanks for watching. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you all at today's Brandon Strategy Lab class today. If not, we'll see you all. We'll be in touch. We'll be in touch between now and March 21st, and then of course we'll see a lot of each other starting on that day. So have a great day. Thanks again for attending, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.